I think this is fake.
You can't say that. I can say that.
Wrestling's not fake!
It's still real to me, damn it!
The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary. This ain't WCW. This ain't Monday Night Raw. This ain't SmackDown. This ain't even WWE.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
You're listening to Marks on Commentary.
Money rules everything around me. Cream, dollar bills, y'all.
Eddie, could you do me a favor?
Yes.
At your wedding, sing that.
Do I do it as Warrior or Macho Man?
Eugene.
Money moves everything around me. Cream, dollar bills, y'all.
I'm sorry, but I was watching a shit ton of Macho Man promos last night, so that's why I'm like, oh, if we do a podcast, I'm gonna fucking do a fucking Macho Man promo, but do it like talking about a podcast. And then you message me today, and you're like, Jason wants a podcast tonight. I'm like, oh fuck yeah.
All right, so I'm just gonna take it from there. You're listening to Marks on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
And I'm that guy Sean that shows up occasionally.
Now, we might as well just open the show with Sean's future award-winning promo as Macho Man, as we know was just announced as one of the first inductees in the 2015 Hall of Fame. I guess my first question is, Macho, how do you feel about this?
I'm a chameleon, yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, you had strong thoughts before Jason came on here to record, so I was just curious what it was that you wanted to tell the people tonight.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about the beat goes on, and the beat goes on, and the beat goes on. And the podcast, yeah, I'm talking to you right now. Marks on Commentary right now. Sugar is sweet, and so is honey. Marks on Commentary is on a roll, and it can't be stopped. No, Elizabeth understands what I'm talking about, yeah. Uh-huh. Unbelievable. Time distortion, space is a place, Mean Gene. Go down that lonesome highway, yeah. But don't be hypnotized. No, reincarnation doesn't have to be. You can concentrate and you can, mental telepathy, yeah. Whoa, man, freak out!
Now, all that Sean really did there was just make me think about how Macho Man talked to Elizabeth while they were in the sack together.
180 degrees!
Elizabeth, I have something for you here. It's the cream. It rises up.
Oh, jeez.
Say goodbye.
Jason already regrets agreeing to this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If I'll enlighten our audience, actually, right now, prior to the podcast, while I was waiting for Jason to get everything in order and Sean was elaborating on what he was going to do there, I was arguing with someone on Facebook because a friend of mine had posted about Mark Wahlberg wanting to pardon and, not agreeing with it. And somebody said, send him back to the New Kids. That'll teach him. So I had to argue with this 36-year-old woman that Mark Wahlberg was in fact in the New Kids before they made it big. So it's sad that I know these things, but continuing on here.
He's got the right stuff, baby.
I'm going to make Sean sing that at my wedding as Macho Man.
And I'll wear these oversized sweatshirts, just like they did.
He's got the right stuff. Ooh, yeah.
Got the right stuff, yeah. Snap into a podcast. Ooh, yeah.
Now, Jason, what would you like to discuss?
Oof. Let's head into Rumble area.
Okay. How many secret entries do we usually get a year? 2 or 3?
Last year it was 2, 3 maybe.
All right. Well, let's hypothetically. Who are the surprise entrants this year? Sean and Jason.
Oof. I'd like to see X-Pac.
Yeah.
It's been a while, so I think X-Pac makes sense.
Now,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I have to ask because apparently Kevin Nash was suspended because of the incident on Christmas where he chokeslammed his own son. Does the same rule apply for X-Pac creepily hitting on Trish Stratus during the Raw anniversary?
What's up?
Most
I think my asshole is back in shape. Oh.
the most awkward 2 minutes of television I've ever witnessed.
Did you see that video I made with China?
China, still haven't seen it.
He'll actually ask. Yeah, he'll actually ask Trish, "How big is your dick?"
Whatever we do, I don't want to suck your dick, Trish.
Let me play with your squashed butterfly. No.
Oh, there you go. There's the title of tonight's show: Squashed Butterfly. Your surprise entrance into the Rumble.
Well, I have a feeling they're going to do the proverbial, "Oh, let's give Honky Tonk Man something to do again." I'm sorry, but actually, no, I'm not. But I can't fucking stand the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah,
I really can't. Every time he would come out and I'd fucking hear his stupid music, I don't see what the appeal was to that guy. I don't care if he was related to Jerry Lawler or not. I really don't give a shit about Honky Tonk Man. And so that means Honky Tonk Man, if you're listening, I challenge you to a sideburn competition. Guarantee you I could house your ass.
You know what's funny is we have a higher probability of Honky Tonk Man being a guest on Marks of Commentary than Gangrel. I don't know what that really says, but...
Yeah, because Honky Tonk Man probably sits around with Iron Sheik and listens to these little podcasts and stuff like that while getting drunk. And then you got Sheik going, "Now fucking jabroni, you sideburns better." No, fucking bullshit.
Now, I don't know. Are either of you excited about the Rumble at all?
I kind of am.
As long as it's better than last year's.
I like not knowing exactly who's gonna win. I mean,
yeah, because it does seem pretty up in the air with who could win this year. Originally, it looked like they were going to have Reigns be the guy, but now he's all, doing promos that Vince is writing for him, and he sounds like an idiot. And with Bryan being back and how it would make sense to kind of have him go back to getting his, his championship back. And then you have Ambrose, who is actually, actually becoming quite entertaining lately. Especially that little subtle Isaac Yankem nod on Raw when he got showed a picture of Kane at his therapist appointment. That was pretty funny. But
now, how would either of you feel about when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall moved over to WCW and they brought in fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon? If we could potentially see the emergence of fake CM Punk at the
yeah. Well, for a while there, I thought, especially after, they kind of had finally let it be known on television about the Punk thing with Heyman in the ring and all that. I thought they were going to have, CM Mizdow come out or some shit like that. I thought that would have been funny. But now he's just, Miz's lackey, and I think they need to split them up already. People love Mizdow now. And I still hate the Miz. I think he's an idiot, but his wife is hot. So.
I am calling a spot for the Rumble match where they do some kind of thing where Miz gets eliminated, and then Mizdow has to eliminate himself, but holds the rope like, "No, I don't want to do it."
I'm holding out for Heath Slater as CM Punk 2.0. He's gonna come out the Halloween CM Punk costume where it's like all nylon with the fake tattoos.
I'm Punk, baby. No fucking.
Well, I mean, looking at it now in terms of, we already look like we're gonna have our triple threat match. Does that hinder the match, or does that make it a little more exciting? To me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have Mr. Money in the Bank in a championship capacity. Like, I just kind of think, like, well, if he loses the match, technically he could just cash in at the end of the match.
Well, yeah, that's actually what I thought. I'm thinking they might do. Like, say Cena wins, which will probably happen because they want to take it off of Brock. I would hope they would because the guy's never around. Whereas Vince says, he's an attraction. That's why we don't keep him around. You know, it will draw the viewers in because I have no idea what our viewers want. And let's say Cena wins the belt and he's all like, "Oh, look at me, Fruity Pebbles, JBL likes poop." And then, you know, curb stomp out of nowhere, and then Rollins gets it, and then it'll be I want to say it'd be cool to have Ambrose and Rollins at WrestleMania, but I think it'd be really cool to have Bryan versus Rollins at WrestleMania for the belt.
Jason, thoughts?
I'm pretty sure they have Brock locked up till at least the night after WrestleMania. So I'm fairly and to me it makes no sense at this point to take the belt off of Brock after he's gone through Taker. He's gonna probably go through Cena 3 times now. You're building towards this moment that somebody dethrones him, and I don't know. It doesn't make sense for it to be Rollins yet, and it doesn't make sense. Certainly doesn't make sense for it to be Cena. I think.
That leads me to my next post question. 3 Mania matches. All right, I'm going to throw 3 names out here. Brock is champion, Undertaker, and Sting.
Who's doing what?
3 matches around those 3 guys: Sting, Taker, and Brock if he's still champion.
It'd be cool to see Sting versus Taker, kind of do a double retirement match type of thing, or something, you know, with the 2 of them. Mm-hmm. I remember reading something about they're trying to do Bray Wyatt versus Taker, but I just foresee if it's Wyatt versus Taker, that means that Wyatt has to like tone down his skill set or move set, whatever the hell you want to call it, to go against, you know, 50, almost 60 some odd year old Taker, and that really won't make a good match. But if you have the 2 older guys in there, then, you know, it might be interesting. Sure, it could be a bore fest, but it'd be something that fans of the 90s, like Monday Night War era type of fan will have been dying to see. So it would be cool to have that, but I don't want to see Sting versus Triple H. I don't want to see that at all.
Jason?
I'm on board for seeing Undertaker and Sting, but I don't think it happens this year. I think it's a lose-lose situation for both guys going in. It is Sting's first WrestleMania. If he goes in and loses, that devalues him. It's Taker's first Mania after losing the streak, so that kind of hurts him again. So that puts him at a 2 loss now. I think we do get Sting, Sting and Triple H. Sting goes over, and next year is in Texas, final match for Undertaker in that huge stadium that they're already proposing, and Sting versus Taker. And Undertaker can win, Sting can win. It does. I feel the edge goes to Taker in that year, but I don't even see Undertaker on this card this year. Actually,
I was going to say, now, if Taker's not on the card, it's rumored that he's going into the Hall of Fame. What do you think's more likely, a Taker match with Wyatt or a Taker Hall of Fame induction?
I guess I don't know. I think I'd edge the Wyatt match, but I really don't even see either of those happening this year.
I'd love to see Taker finally be put in the Hall of Fame. I really would.
Well, the only reason I'm kind of questioning it now is because now Macho Man's like the headliner of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
true.
If you put Taker in the Hall of Fame, does it overshadow Macho Man? Or if Macho Man headlines, does it overshadow Taker?
It's so difficult to say, because the point I keep making with people on Twitter is they're like, oh, well, Rick Rude needs to go in. Oh, Owen Hart needs to go in. I agree. All those guys need to go in, but you can't have a full show of people that aren't around anymore. So, you know what I mean? You need somebody to stand in for them, and you can't just have family members. That kind of devalues. You want to see the person, and it works for a couple guys, you know what I mean? Like last year they had Paul Bearer's son. Like that was okay because you understood it. But if it was everybody's son or cousin or uncle or brother, it's like, well, it's a class full of, no offense to nobody, it's a class full of nobodies.
Well, let's look at it this way. Let's say Macho Man gets in, his brother inducts him. Undertaker gets in. Maybe Vince inducts him. Owen Hart gets in. Bret Hart inducts him. Sable goes in. One of the Divas inducts her. so forth and so on. Like Andy Kaufman goes in and I'm still pushing for Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, I do honestly. That makes sense. That should happen soon.
So,
And
Though knowing me, I'd be the one guy out there that would be like, Andy Kaufman's going to show up to accept you. Accept it.
hey, you know what? If they were smart, they would get the guys playing Tony Clifton right now to show up and take the award for Andy.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
that'd be awesome.
And that would be an interesting topic to get Bob back on the show.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like we should have like an anniversary, a WrestleMania anniversary show with him again.
we'll do it every year that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
I'm just saying. I mean, I know Bob listens. I know he's on Facebook, and I know he'd be willing to talk. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be willing to do a 1-year anniversary of why isn't Andy Kaufman in the Hall of Fame? Yeah.
I'm game.
Of course, that being said, now we know that Bob Barker is probably going in the Hall of Fame. I mean, in your guys' estimation of things, like in your dream card of Alive and Dead, who goes in this year?
Whew. Shit.
I think Sable needs to go in, even though you can personally say anything you want about her, but I think she does deserve to be in.
Well, you gotta look at it this way. Kevin Nash did say on Twitter that it's not likely you'll see Kevin Nash in a WWE on WWE television again, which led many to speculate that he said Kevin Nash. He never said Diesel.
Yeah, but I think saying that this soon after a real incident is kind of, I don't know.
Well, didn't they suspend his Legends until the whole thing got settled and figured out?
Exactly.
Because I know that all the charges were just dropped now. So I mean, maybe he'll be like, "Oh, hey," and because he's Triple H's buddy, Triple H will be like, "Hey, don't choke slam any kids while you're out there."
I kind of think though, like Triple H, knowing that he's the boss now, kind of needs to play even like tougher to his friends than he used to be able to. You know what I mean? Just so people aren't like, "Hey, your fucking buddy, why is he back?"
Yeah.
If he's smart, that's what he'd do, and I give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I do have a realistic question then, because when I had posted the picture on my Facebook page, I'd kind of given like Owen Hart and so and so and so and so as, I never put China as a potential inductee because a lot of people just kind of scoff at it, like, oh, between Playboy and porno, and we mentioned with X-Pac. Is there a likelihood? And I'm just wondering from you guys, give me like an estimate of how many years. China belongs in the Hall of Fame. How long do you think before she goes into the Hall of Fame?
I personally don't see it happening. If they couldn't bring her in for the whole Raw 1000, even for a small DX thing, but yet they can bring back Mae Young's hand son, I don't see China going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's weird. I'd at least say 10 years from the last porno she made. You know what I mean? Let that shit kind of die out, but
one porno equals 10 years.
That's the rule of thumb in WWE. That's on the rule book if you didn't know that.
Called Mark math.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I believe like CM Punk. How many years in Mark math is that going to take?
Ooh, like 20. I don't know. I kind of. He's the one guy I kind of believe, like, yeah, he's serious. He's not coming back.
I don't know, because, I mean, there are just so many. You can make a Self-Destruction, The Ultimate Warrior DVD, and eventually that guy came back.
Yeah. But the same with Macho. Macho never came back.
Yeah.
So,
he did do that, remember that WWE All-Stars game that came out?
He did that, but more specifically, he did the Comic-Con. He did the video for the toy, the Legends toy.
But those are usually done outside the WWE umbrella. Yeah, they use logos and stuff like that, but it's like a separate company. It's like Paul Heyman's company would be brought in to like do the video aspect of it. Like WWE really has no say on that shit.
There's a good one right there. How long do you think before Paul Heyman gets in the Hall of Fame?
When Mania's in Philadelphia, whenever that happens.
You think they'll go specific to like Philadelphia? Like you were saying with Texas with Sting and Undertaker, does it have to be specific to where they're from?
No, but I think for the Taker match that helps. But I think Paul Heyman, I think you go for the maximum like audience, especially like that. He is based off of audience participation and reaction, and like in that town, that would be amazing. That would be the best Hall of Fame reception ever.
Well, I mean, that's the equivalent of like in Texas, what's stopping Steve Austin from having one more match?
I'm game. Until we're 3 months out and haven't heard anything, I still think he's going to be a part of that show in some capacity.
How though? Like
I think I have a feeling he'll be on that card in some capacity.
Against who?
I don't know. Maybe Brock. I would like to see that. But there are a few guys that I'm like very interested in. Like, because Brock's in a different kind of classification than like say a Daniel Bryan. Yeah, you could go Cena, I guess. But I don't know. I think Brock would be the guy if you could get him back.
Now, how do either of you feel about the fact that we're never going to see CM Punk against Austin?
It's disappointing.
It's very disappointing. Because for a while there, it looked like they were slowly planting a seed.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, screw that. We're not going to do that now.
I just wonder if it was Austin saying, no, I'm not interested. Because that conversation had to have come up.
Well, I mean, you got to wonder, though, CM Punk's biggest grievance was that they weren't pushing him in the main event. You know, they were telling him, oh, your match with Taker was main event quality, but it wasn't main event. The main event is the last match on the card.
Yeah.
I got to wonder, they might have pitched that match to him and Punk, and they might have agreed on the same notion, which is if we're not last on the card, we're not doing this match.
I think if that did ever happen, I think it was Austin that said I'm not interested at the time.
Well, but that's my point, though. As smart marks, if we can have this moment for a second, we know that both Austin and Punk wanted main event, last match at Mania. If they're gonna, and you know it would be a draw regardless because it's Austin and Punk. If they pitch that match and it's second to last, what's the point?
Well, wasn't correct me if I'm wrong. I probably am, but the first Hogan Rock match, was that main event or was that second to last?
That was like pre-main event. There may even been a match after that.
No, I believe it went Rock, Hogan, and then it went Triple H, Jericho.
Did it? I thought there was like a tag match in there.
I believe, I could be wrong, but I think it went that because I remember reading in Jericho's book. And yeah, I can hear Jason's clicking. So
I gotta look now.
Yeah, please look, because I seem to remember it was the equivalent of when Jericho had beat, I believe, was it Austin for the Undisputed title?
Okay,
and they mentioned how they went back to the locker room like nobody was deserted.
They sandwiched a triple threat Divas match with Jazz, Trish, and Lita. It was like 6 minutes. So, I mean, it was there, but yeah, it's almost immediately after, basically.
All right, so you had Hogan, Rock, Divas, then Championship, right?
Yeah.
All right, so not entirely wrong, but not entirely right.
No,
but
yeah,
the idea.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I mean, I don't know. I think the verdict's still out on the Hall of Fame. I think if you get Macho Man in, there's still hope that potentially Owen Hart really deserves to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
But no more, no less than British Bulldog. He's still not in there.
Yeah.
Or Jim. Yeah. He's not in there either.
I mean, because I don't remember if you guys remember a while back when the network was still kind of in the early stages when it first came out or whatever. Do you remember WWE sending out a letter or polls or whatever to certain people saying what documentaries would they like to see made for the network or whatever? And one of them was a documentary made about the night that Owen Hart died. Do you guys remember that?
Oh, wow.
I didn't. Vaguely, actually, yeah.
Yeah, well, if they can throw out that idea to the universe, I use finger quotes there, if they could throw that idea out to the universe, or fans, I'd rather say fans because universe sounds so stupid. I don't see why they can't put Owen Hart in the Hall of Fame. I faintly remember reading something, hell, it could just be another one of those things that the internet likes to put out just to have certain wrestling fans be like, that's the truth. That I believe Owen Hart's wife, I believe, doesn't want Owen put in Hall of Fame, I think. simply because she's still upset about what had happened. I mean, everybody else in the Hart family seems to have, forgiven Vince and all that stuff, except for Owen's wife. So I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, for the most part, I feel like everyone's kind of made peace, Brett, especially with the incident.
Yeah.
I'm a little curious what it's going to take to get Owen in if it comes down to his wife.
At this point, I think all parties are okay with the idea. I think it's just a matter of timing.
Yeah.
It just probably needs to be the right time to, like I said, you don't want a Hall of Fame class full of, relatives and family members and, you know what I mean? Friends.
Right. Yeah.
But
who's left in the clique? Like, that's the other pool we could jump through, with the exception of X-Pac. Like, do either of you see the New Age Outlaws going in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, but I think there's some other notable tag teams. I do want to see another tag team go in at some point, but I think they're in the top 10 of guys, but I think there are better teams ahead of them. If that makes sense. Did we lose Eddie?
No, I'm just going to take a piss.
Oh.
I was hoping you guys would riff on that for a few minutes.
Sorry. As far as like alive guys, do you have anybody that you can think of?
Sure. Well, I mean, I do want Taker in there, but we've already touched upon that. As for people that are around now, was Jericho ever put in?
Not yet.
I think he'd be a good candidate.
Okay.
I mean, because he's kind of, he shows up, does something, and then he's gone for a while. He hasn't he been doing like house shows and shit?
Yeah, he's been working overseas and non-televised events and stuff like that. So
yeah, why don't they put him in? He's had quite the career. So
I think maybe it's just timing. Maybe they're waiting for him to be a not active competitor.
Yeah, I mean, because that's practically what it's getting to at this point. He'll do a few things here, work with the younger talent there to try and get them over. But I mean, put him in there. But I swear to God, I'm not looking forward to the day where Cena's put in.
But it doesn't bother me. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes you just take it on the chin. Yeah, he's a star in the wrestling industry.
Yeah,
but
I'm honestly curious as to who they're gonna choose to basically fill that spot.
What spot?
When Cena's no longer the top guy, because it's gonna happen at some point, obviously.
I think he's still got another like 10 to 15 years on him, honestly.
I get that.
I'm sorry, I had to take a piss. I left the door wide open. 15 years.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing being that DDP, Hall of Fame.
Not yet.
Too soon?
I think so. I think there are, if you want to talk about elite like WCW guys, I think there's a long list ahead of them.
Well, obviously Goldberg, I think probably.
Yeah.
The second being John Cena, 10 to 15 years. I'm just curious, like, what do you where do you come in with that?
Why did I say 10 to 15 years?
Yeah.
No, I was saying that I think he still has 10 to 15 years as an active competitor.
That's still a long time considering, though, like all the injuries he sustained and just overall popularity. I mean,
he may take a year off. I'm not saying that, but I think in 15 years, you'll probably see the final bit of Cena, but I don't know. I don't see him. It's not like he's not healthy. It's not like he doesn't want to do this anymore. Every interview you ever hear, he talks about how much of a company guy he is. He doesn't want kids. He doesn't want to get married. This is what he does. And at some point he'll probably transition into like a suit position like Triple H. But
that's a scary thought, to be honest with you.
True, but you can't. I mean, the fucking guy's learned Japanese or something.
Yeah.
So he's obviously like trying to expand his marketability and how he like a ambassador for the company.
Right.
So I don't know.
I mean, do you think that would hurt the company?
No, I mean he's a poster boy. Like, how could you not want John Cena as like a guy who represents your company when he's no longer?
That's true because I do remember I worked. I had to work a morning shift the day after last year's WrestleMania, and I was having my breakfast, and the TV was on, and it was, I think, Good Morning America or some crap was on, and I look over, and they're interviewing. They were interviewing John Cena because last year's WrestleMania was when he won the belt, right?
29.
Oh, it must. Yeah, wow, yeah, not last year. Yeah. Sorry, wow, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it was the day after WrestleMania, and he had won the belt, and they were interviewing him on Good Morning America. When was the last time you saw anybody else that had won the WWE Championship on a morning television news show outlet thing?
Right.
You didn't see Brock Lesnar do it. You didn't see any of these other guys do it. I mean, I could see why he's that category of, that guy. Still trying to keep the product out there, no matter what shape or form it's in. But at the same time, at some point down the line, there has to be somebody else to do that, because there's only so much.
Is that
John
guy?
Cena,
Is that guy on the roster at this moment, though?
No, I don't. I do not believe so.
I don't either.
I
think there's guys that can hold the torch and do a great job in that position. Like I hate to say, like, use WWE TV logic, but B+ players and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's a depressing kind of ideology, though. When you realize, or revelation, when you realize that the three of us can agree that there's really no one else to carry the company a decade from now.
Yeah,
because you can look at it this way. Obviously, I don't want to be the whole take a trip down memory lane thing, but because, I mean, I'm sure we've had our moments of touch and go with the product where we've watched it for years upon years, and then we have that point where we're kind of out of it, don't really follow it, but then we pick it back up. But for the longest time there, especially late 90s, like 98, 99, 2000, that type of thing, you always saw Rock, Stone Cold on some television show being interviewed, doing this, that, the other thing, getting the product out there, because everyone knew who they were. Everyone, like, practically, there's some truth to the saying everybody watched wrestling back then.
Oh yeah.
On Monday nights it was either football or Raw. But you always knew who these guys were. You always knew what company they were working for. You always knew their characters, no matter what, because they were putting the company out there. They were the guys. You see Stone Cold, you knew he was the champion. See Rock, you knew he was the champion. Then for a while there, nothing was really going on.
Yeah.
And then John Cena came along. He went from annoying piece of crap rapper guy who we met at a car show, and he was really tired.
But I give him credit. He fucking stayed that whole night when he didn't have to, and that was cool.
Yeah. And then it's weird, because if you think about it, he has been the quote unquote top guy, the image of or as they say on TV, the face of the WWE for years.
But that also,
people see John.
Go
ahead.
No, but that also took 8-10 years just to get him to that position, though. How many? Like, I'm trying to think of, like, the earliest Cena, like when he was current Cena, like 2005 Cena isn't anywhere near.
Let's say when he went to Hollywood and he won the title, that became like the soldier Cena, I'll call him.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas originally, like WrestleMania 20, he was still very much like the Chang Gang, like, loyalty, respect Cena. Because I remember that match, and I remember, vaguely knowing Cena, because I remember Cena and his mic cut out, and it wasn't like something they did intentionally, but coming out, it was the WrestleMania where Vince and Hogan had their match, and Rock and Austin had their last match, and he came out with a cardboard cutout of George.
That's right. Because who's supposed to come out? Shit, they were gonna try and get some rapper, and he backed out like the last minute.
Yeah, and then Cena came out with a cardboard cutout, and most of his promo was cut out due to like a technical difficulty or something.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was like the definitive. I actually know it was Vengeance also was Taker and Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And this is pre-Undertaker going back to the dark side where Cena was in the cemetery and he lit the pentagram up.
Yep.
And didn't he also make a rap and he made reference to John Ritter having a heart attack?
I believe he did, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that pissed me off. I was angry.
Now, the weird thing is, I don't know if either of you own it or you've seen it. I've already told Jay, Attitude Era Volume 2 should have been Attitude Era Volume 1. If you don't own this DVD, you should.
Mm-hmm. I still haven't seen it yet.
The only thing that I could complain about, it's a very minor complaint, is that they don't have a documentary beforehand. It's a lot of commentary spliced in between matches. So, but it's interesting commentary. Like Edge talks about the Brood bloodbaths and how they affected the wrestlers that they did that to. The Godfather admitted that his wife came up with that whole persona.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really cool DVD, but when I was actually talking to my fiance, she was like, why there's so many matches with like Triple H, Undertaker, The Rock, Steve Austin? That's when we realized it was really like maybe 5 or 6 guys in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
That made up the main event, as opposed to now where it's really just really one guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference between the 90s and now. Like back then you had The Rock and Triple H could have a strap match, a fully loaded, which could be just as good, if not better, than the main event, which was Austin Taker First Blood. And that's saying a lot. You know, like King of the Ring, Austin versus the McMahons, and Taker versus Rock.
Yep.
Again, just as good, if not better, than the main event.
Here's this is just something that popped into my head. I'm gonna kind of go on a tangent here, but I don't know. I just need to get it out. Because I mean, I've talked to both of you and I've talked to the two of you lately about and Jason even called me a millennial last night, but but I mean, I'm going to kind of do a compare and contrast, but with a few things to back it up as to why I feel that what needs to be done in order to make Monday nights interesting, at least for me again anyway. Because like I said, they're basically background noise to me now, which is a shame. Okay, back in the day, every Raw would open with, a promo. A wrestler would be in the ring, cutting a promo, doing his whole thing for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And that still happens to this day. But the thing is, back then, we had characters who we wanted to hear what they had to say. And what they said always seemed to entertain us. And it actually got us invested into what feud they were having. Now it's just a bunch of words. And a bunch of meaningless words and a bunch of annoying things. And a bunch of characters you don't care about. A bunch of authority members, especially, I understand you need that role on television. It worked well with Vince and the corporation. It does not work at all with Triple H, Stephanie, and the Authority. Because I understand you need that heel aspect of the company juggernaut that, doesn't want talent to get their way. But week in and week out, doing practically the same thing of, it's basically in a way saying, you want to build your character, you want to have an arc, you want to go to this plateau. Oh, sorry, you can't do that because we're the bad guy and you can't do that. There's only so much you can take of that every single week. And it's getting to the point where it's like, you know what? No, get this Authority crap off TV, put a general manager in there, or like Eddie, how you were telling me the other night, a Bischoff role. He was a heel of a commissioner or whatnot, general manager, I mean, but it was still entertaining. Mm-hmm. Mick Foley wasn't that great of a general manager or commissioner or whatever, but it was entertaining. It just seems like every single week we're being force-fed the same stuff. Especially we talked about it a while back, Eddie, me and you. What's the thought process behind being so nonchalant and okay with pissing off the people that watch your product.
Right.
Like, don't you want people to enjoy it, not hate it? It seems like they're forcefully and purposefully pissing off their fans when the mentality back in the day was, let's give our viewers something they're going to remember, that they're going to love, that they're going to enjoy, where the next day when they see their friends in school or see their coworkers, that they're going to talk about it. Now it's like, what the fuck am I watching? What is this? So, and stop doing the whole fucking almost 40-minute Triple H promo about he's the best, and then go into a tag team match, a Divas match, another tag team match, Usos, Goldust and Stardust, one of the Wyatt guys, have Ambrose do something kooky, have Rollins come out and bitch and complain, have Michael Cole do horrible commentary, a main event that will more than likely be a 3-way match or a 4-on-4 tag match, have the person you really don't want to win the match, and then lather, rinse, repeat the next week until you have a pay-per-view, while smack dab in the middle of it you have John Cena be like, okay, you can't see me and all that crap. It's the same thing every week. They need to shake things up. They need to change things. It seems like they're at this stale point of they would rather think of the corporate stuff behind the scenes, and they're not focusing their attention on what they're putting on television. They're really not. And that's why I am a full supporter of what NXT is, because that is what the main product should be. That is what should be on USA. And like I described it to you, Jason, last night, the product we have now on WWE television is borderline 1995 WWF mixed in with the last run of WCW.
That's a good comparison. I would say that's pretty dead on.
Yeah.
And it is painful to watch, yet I'm still that guy that'll watch it every single Monday. hoping that there will be a gem in the turd that is WWE Raw. And there I've said my piece. Oh yeah.
I'm with you.
No, I mean, it's so superficial to say this, but when Sean was explaining all that, I was kind of just, all right, long story short, I recently acquired a Retron 2, which is a Nintendo SNES system. Going back to like the old gaming, because Jason had mentioned, for a while now, he wanted to kind of go back and revisit old wrestling games. And like, definitively, I think WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy were like the peak of phenomenal wrestling games. I really do.
Oh yeah.
So with that being said, I have to look at things now, and again, it's very superficial to say this, but I have to look at things now and kind of say that if you were to own a wrestling game today, which is WWE, I believe is 2K15, my brother-in-law has ranted about this. What was your favorite, and I'll ask you this first, what was, both of you, when you owned or played this game, what was your favorite thing to do with those games?
Create a wrestler.
Yeah, that was badass.
Aside from that, though, like, did you ever do, like, the pay-per-view modes?
Yeah.
Like, what was that? Like, when you went to create a pay-per-view, like, what was your mindset going into that?
I always like to do the King of the Ring.
Jason?
I would play more of the story mode. So.
Well, I think my main point being is that, like, you had characters, you had wrestlers, you had storylines that you were excited to kind of indulge in. Like, my favorite thing was pay-per-view mode, and I had so many wrestlers to work with. From my point of view, it would be like Mr. Ass versus Stone Cold was just as good of a main event as The Rock and Undertaker, so to speak.
Okay.
Nowadays, and I was talking with my brother-in-law Sonny about this, he has all, like, I don't know if they have that mode, but like when he'll do the story modes and stuff, he has no idea who he's wrestling against. like that element of like the dream, like the dream booker, I guess, where something that you can actually say like, I've never seen this before, but now I have an outlet to actually see it done. What
Blue Meanie versus Head.
But like, what's there to see now? You know what I mean? Like, what's left of the dream matches? I mean, especially on the current roster.
Yeah, there's nobody I can think of on the current roster where I could be like, I want to see this guy versus this guy. I would love to see that.
The only thing I'm hoping for in the immediate future is a Brock Lesnar Daniel Bryan match. That's what I'm hoping for WrestleMania. But beyond that, I don't know. Like at some point, like I watch the NXT now. I like how I say I watch the NXT now.
I watch the NXT on the streaming device.
But I really like Finn Balor. I think Vince is gonna see him and go, "Oh, I can make money with that guy." So,
well, I don't know. What's that guy? What's his name? Adrian Neville. What were they going to do with him? They were going to give him a Mighty Mouse character if they put him on the main roster.
I think that got taken out of context, honestly. I think the idea may have been for him to have Mighty Mouse like feature or what do you call it? Traits, like how he would present himself, like maybe being stronger, like maybe he would lift Mark Henry with like ease or something like that.
Yeah. Well, they also kind of did that with the Hurricane.
I don't know.
Like, this little guy could choke slam so and so. But
the fact
I honestly think they should have an NXT championship match at WrestleMania.
I put this out on Twitter. I said the place to put that is the pre-show. Because it gives the NXT talents a place to shoot for, but because that match is always like, well, is it a part of WrestleMania or isn't it a part of WrestleMania? I don't tend to count it as part of WrestleMania.
Well, if they could give Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler a 40-minute match, I think they could give a couple of the very talented NXT guys a match at WrestleMania.
I agree that they are talented enough to earn that position, but if they're in that position, they should already be on the roster then.
Mm-hmm. But I also kind of don't want to see them on the main roster because look what they did with the Ascension.
Yep.
Oh my God. I don't even want to get into that with you guys.
That pisses me off so much that they ruined this great tag team with this shitty friggin' gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys watch NXT way more than I do. I just, right off the bat, without really knowing much about NXT, I can already tell they totally fucked that whole thing up.
It's like the Ascension's new gimmick for their characters is somebody on creative is like, hey guys, remember when we had kayfabe? Let's try and do that again. Let's try and get these guys to be like these otherworldly tag team with this really shitty paint on their face, and they think they're the greatest tag team in the world, saying they're better than so and so and so and so. But let's put them against guys that nobody even knows. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, build these guys up as these superpower.
Commentary has been burying them.
Oh yeah.
Like, absolutely.
I love JBL on commentary now. I used to hate his guts, but now it's like this dude's saying exactly what I want to say. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. There's a way to build a team, and that isn't it. Like, you could have had them come out and beat the shit out of the Usos, and that would make sense. But I don't know.
Speaking of commentary, I remember on the Christmas episode of Raw, I really wish I remember what Jerry Lawler had said, but he definitely made a non-PG joke on commentary because you could hear Cole and JPL like under their breath giggling their asses off because Jerry Lawler made a very crude adult joke. It had to do with something about opening a Christmas present or something like that, but it definitely was along the sexual lines of something he would say around the days of puppies and all this stuff. And when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, that was perfect. Because then it was quiet for a while. And then both Cole and JBL were like, can we come over to your house for Christmas? I couldn't believe it. I really wish I remember exactly what he said though. But that's the type of stuff where when I hear that, I'm like, there, that's what I want to hear. That's what I'm looking for.
So that pretty much sums up why Jerry the King Lawler is now on SmackDown.
Well, yeah, and because I'm sure you guys read it by now. The whole while back they kind of wanted to phase him out too, but then it was like, oh, we kind of feel bad now because he died, but came back to life. Let's push this off for a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is Booker T an upgrade though?
Shucky ducky quack quack. No, that's
no.
a no.
I'm gonna say no.
No, the one
especially when I don't think he's ever watched an episode of Gilligan's Island, because one of his commentaries said something. For some reason he made a Gilligan's Island reference, and he was like, "They never got off that island. They died on that island." No, they didn't. You jackass! They made 2 movies about them being rescued from the island.
It's all about the important stuff.
Mm.
Well, with about 3 or 4 minutes left in the show, final thoughts. Do you want to go to Twitter, Jason?
I don't think there's much on Twitter this evening.
Well, since I do the podcast with you guys via Skype, I'm wondering if I should email Sunny and see if she wants to do a Skyping thing.
Eddie, you've heard of this? Yes? No?
I've heard of this, and I am all for it if Sean's on board for it.
Either that or I'll try and get in touch with Ashley Mazzaro. See what she's up to. Now, ladies, if you're listening to this, because I know you're probably not doing much these days, I love you both. I don't like cocaine though, so
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I keyed.
Sure, Sean wants to do cocaine with the next diva, is what we learned on tonight's show.
Hey, I would really like to have a nice conversation with Paige. Okay, I want to get to know that girl.
I can't talk about Paige because this has become somewhat of a touchy subject in my future marriage.
Ooh.
Is it wrong that this is the first diva I've actually ever seen on WWE TV where it's like, I need to meet that girl? And not in a, I'm going to throw her in a burlap sack and throw her in my trunk kind of way. I'm talking about I'd actually like to get to know this broad.
Because mine was totally put her in a burlap sack and throw her in my trunk sort of way.
I make you my wife.
Very nice.
Like a very long distance. I make you this. I make you my wife. You marry me?
I usually hate Jason for bringing back the bad Borat impressions.
What's up, Vanilla Face? No.
With that being said, any final? Well, no, I'd asked Jason because I told him because originally we were gonna come up with like some sort of initiation to get Sean on as an official third host on this show.
You know what you could do while I have this fresh in my noggin, listeners out there right now, if you are listening to this and you've made it this long into the show, first off, I love you. And second off, I would really appreciate it if you guys on Twitter could hook me up with Paige. Just say there's this really awesome guy with a beard. He's 28 years old, and he's part of this podcast once in a while, and he wants to meet you and get to know you and potentially marry you, because I'm a sad individual who has no life. Don't say that part though. Say I'm awesome.
If Macho Man was gonna seduce Paige, what would he say?
Oh God, jeez.
He'd probably accidentally call her Stephanie.
Oh shit.
Damn.
What? You knew I was gonna go there. Come on.
Well, all right.
Are you shaming me?
I am. I'm shaming you.
Oh, what? Is he going to drop down from the heavens and give me a big elbow?
Exactly. He's going to do that.
I was actually doing the opposite. I was Matthew McConaugheying you.
You were all righting me.
All right.
You know what I like about Stephanie McMahon? I get older. She stays the same age.
Well, that's Mark. Mark. That's Mark's son, Stephanie.
There'll be plenty of them on her. I guarantee you that. Woohoo!
I'm in Rufus.
I'm Jason Smith.
I'm that guy, Sean.
We are Mark's son, Stephanie.
Did I ever tell you my strip club story?
No.
Okay. Let me start off the story with, do you remember in Scary Movie 2, the guy with the small hand?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Now that you have that image in
that
your
guy with the... Is that
No.
like, hey, I'm sorry about the size of my penis.
No. Fuck you, man. No, that's not it at all. And it's not going to be involving the quote from the movie either. I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm going to lick it anyway. But so two of my friends and I, it was a guy and a girl that I had gone to the strip club with. We went to the one out in Bedford, where I don't know where this misconceived notion is up in New Hampshire that if you have your top off, you have to have pasties on. I know in New Hampshire it can't be a bottomless club. I know that. But the strip club I went to up in Bedford, they had their tops off, so you could see the nips. It was nice. So we were having a good time, but of course it was the first time I have ever gone to a strip club, and my guy friend that I was there with, he proceeded to let every single woman that came out on the stage that it was my first time. Sure, that was a little embarrassing, but it was also cool for me because every single stripper let me motorboat them and put their vaginas in my face. So that was cool. So as the night progressed...
you have chlamydia.
Yeah. And as the night progressed and we saw more and more strippers, we did the usual toss some ones on the table, blah, blah, blah. I had 4 other strippers come up to me saying, hey, it's your first time, you want to dance? I'm like, hey, I'm kind of cheap. I don't have a lot of money. So... the night went on, and then this really attractive blonde girl comes out. She's doing her dance and all that. And then me and my friend Alex and the girl that came with us, Allison, we were looking at her funny. And then simultaneously, we all put a 1 up on the dance floor because we felt bad. Because she went to grab the stripper pole, and I shit you not, her left hand was the exact same size as the guy from Scary Movie 2.
Oh my god.
But it gets better. My friend still said, this is my buddy's first time. So the girl comes over.
Shit.
The girl comes over, puts her nice looking boobs in my face, takes the 1, puts it in her G-string. She puts her legs over my shoulders, forces me forward with her foot. And then it was like the scene in like a really bad 80s cheeseball, hornball of a movie, but you have to put it in there for the whole uncomfortable factor. Her hand comes around, the small one, and her legs are wide open, and she's got this pink thong on her, and her hand comes around, the little one, and she starts patting herself on her vagina with her small hand, and I am fighting back, laughing my ass off so bad, but it was funny because the sound of her tiny hand hitting her vagina went like this. And I couldn't do it anymore, so I took a 1 out and just stuck it in the front of her thong, and I just kind of backed up because I knew if she kept going, I would have laughed right into her vagina.